Welcome back, True Seeker. Tucker Carlson's favorite UFC fighter, and also the UFC fighter that went on the BPD podcast this past July and did a Gematria presentation. Yes, a Gematria presentation, in case you missed that, is now getting called out in the mainstream media for starting his own podcast, and in the first episode, praising Hitler. What I want you to see is what a perfect ritual this is. And again, it's a shame that a lot of people in the world probably have only heard of Gematria through this UFC fighter. If you don't follow the BPD podcast, it's one of the biggest on YouTube. But again, it was a bad presentation of Gematria. We'll leave it at that. Again, if you're new here, the reason people know about this knowledge within the English language is because of the voice of yours truly. Again, pushing this for every single day since August of 2013 when I learned about it. But you learn this knowledge and you use it the right way. You can see how the media is all ritualism, how the UFC is rigged by this code. Lots of people patted their pockets off the rigged UFC fights. Bryce Mitchell, the fighter who's being criticized, who gave the Gematria lesson back in July, he didn't talk about how the UFC's rigged by this code. He should have. Of course, the UFC, Dana White's the face of it, but he doesn't really own the UFC. Who does is Rahm Emanuel's brother, who's a hardline Zionist. And in a way, he has a lot of parallels to Small Mustache Man, Rahm Emanuel's brother, if you look into him. But notice, Dana White, his remarks came January 30th, yesterday, Thursday, on the 187th day of his age. And as you can see, Adolf Hitler equals 187. Dana White said, he's not going to be punished, the fighter, but he did think it was really dumb of him to say it. And, in his next UFC fight, people can watch him get his ass kicked. And don't be surprised if that's the exact script. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But if you're new here, Gematria, there's 4 base ciphers of the English language: the alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, meaning A is 1 up to Z is 26, and in reverse, meaning Z is 1 back to A is 26. And then just adding up the words like a math equation based on the letter placement in the alphabet. Again, I said there's 4 base ciphers: the alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, and both orders with numerology applied. You can see how Adolf Hitler also equates to 56, and supposedly he offed himself at age 56, April 30th, 1945, 10 days after his 56th birthday. You should look into what was found. He had a bunch of sketchings that became Disney characters, and that's a whole nother story. Some say he went down to Argentina, the land of the first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis, who has a lot of connections to these very same numbers. And if you don't know, the Nazis were modeled after the Jesuits, a.k.a. the Society of Jesus. Of course, Bryce Mitchell, he's become a big Jesus guy. You can also just see just below how Washington, D.C. has the overlap with Small Mustache Man in 3 out of the 4 base ciphers. For the record, the one cipher I didn't put up there, just the alphabetic order, Adolf Hitler equals 110, like his birthday's April 20th, the 110th day of the year. Washington, D.C. is 137 in that cipher, the 33rd prime, going with it being the Masonic city. But the reason I put the capital city up there is, of course, that's where the Jesuits set up camp, just like how the Nazis were modeled after the Jesuits. Again, Washington, D.C. is where the Jesuits set up camp when they came to America. Again, Georgetown was opened 1789, the first year, or the same year that George Washington became recognized as the first president. And the other thing is Bryce Mitchell, he decided to do his podcast after being inspired by the Donald Trump rally 4 days earlier that he was at. So Bryce Mitchell, big, Trump guy, and now getting moved into this whole SS thing after Elon Musk's salute that was in tribute to Werner von Braun, one of the Nazis that was shipped over to America in Project Paperclip. And just a few other things. Notice that Bryce Mitchell's birthday is the day that Joker came out, both of them. October 4th, the day leaving 88 days left in the year. From his birthday to Dana White calling him out was the 119th day of his age. 119 is the 88th composite number. Trump just took office with the 119th Congress, synced with the Pope's 88th birthday. Again, when he first became president back in 2017, there was rumors he was going around with Mein Kampf, which equals 88, like Trump. And the date of the podcast where the remarks were made was 6 days earlier, January 24th. That was the 113th day of Bryce Mitchell's age, as you can see. The Nazi Party has the 113 connection. And from him really getting on the scene, just like Tucker Carlson really put Andrew Tate on the map, this guy doesn't have as elevated a position as Andrew Tate, but Tucker Carlson really got this guy buzzing too. And their interview was December 15, 2023. Notice from his interview with Tucker Carlson to the date he launched his podcast where he made his remarks about Adolf was 58 weeks on the nose. And remember, Trump had won the 58th election after announcing from the 58-story Trump Tower, and they took out all the people in 58 rituals, from Prince to Vanity to many others. And again, Prince was Mr. Purple Rain. That was the year of the 58th Grammys. He died when his ex-girlfriend Vanity died the day of the 58th Grammys. But anyway, just all the 58 business with Trump's 58th election the first time around, and then the rumors of Mein Kampf. And again, it's just deja vu, right? This time he's back from Trump's latest inauguration, and then this happens right after the Elon Musk thing. And don't forget, from Trump's birthday to the Pope's is a span of 187 days, just like how Trump's convention in 2016 was in Cleveland. It began on the 18th day of the 7th month, 187 days from Inauguration Day. Again, these things are not an accident. If you're new here, that 187 is a special number. The word Abrahamic equals 187 in that same reverse cipher, and there's 187 chapters in the Torah, which is the basis of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And again, the Cabal uses it like a playbook to create division in the world. And, in the Bryce Mitchell podcast, he was a lot harder on Muslims, per se, than Jews, and realized there's no criticism in the media of that. If you listen to his podcast, he was more bombing on Islam, talking about how Conor McGregor is going to throw them all out of the UK. If you guys don't know, Conor McGregor is thinking about running for politics. And by the way, just with regards to the Jesuits running this whole thing, Bryce Mitchell's current UFC record is 17-2. The Jesuit motto ad Merum de Gloriam, 172. So, yeah, just wanted to connect the dots a little bit more. It's news by the numbers all day, every day. Until next time, True Seeker.